This thing absolutely sings when it gets more pace into it. So the more pace you put into it, the better it feels. So testing's complete, and this is the full review of the Saucony Endorphin Speed 4. But before we get into it, massive shout out to my #1 running store, the Running Company at Geelong. I've got a link to their website in the description. Make sure you go check that out and check out all their running gear. And also, if you want to support this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So the Speed's coming in at a pretty hefty price here in Australia, $290, $170 in the US. So it's a bit of a price increase from last year. Now weight-wise, really nice weight here, 233 grams or 8.2 ounces in a men's size 9. Now in our stack heights, pretty generous stack height, 36 in the rear, 28 in the front. That gives us a 8mm drop. Now scores, now for the price. So it did jump up in price, however, it's not the most expensive shoe, considering we get super foam here and it's got a nylon plate. That's why it's getting 7 out of 10. And I love this lightweight package, especially in a training shoe. That's why it's getting 9 out of 10. And in our upper here, we've got a engineered mesh, which is really, really nice. So the build quality in this upper is just amazing. I love the look of it and I love the feel of it. Breathability is absolutely excellent. Now padding wise, we've got a moderate amount of padding. So remember, it's a trimmed down version of a training shoe. So moderate amount here. So pretty impressed about the amount of padding here. And we've got a nice amount of padding on the tongue as well. And that's what just makes this shoe so comfortable, which it absolutely is. We've got a really solid heel counter. So very, very structured there. Now the tongue for me is the highlight of this upper. So I did mention it's got a nice amount of padding at the top, and then the rest of the tongue it's just got all these holes and vents in it. So it just helps suck in the air, and it's a fully gusseted tongue. But yeah, it's just super comfortable when you put this shoe on. Now the lockdown for me, absolutely excellent. The fit is true to size, but Saucony shoes are on the narrow side. So just for that, I went half a size up, and that's no problem for me. But lengthwise, I'm going to say true to size, but it's more of a narrow fit. Now, scores-wise, as I said before, super comfortable shoe. Build quality is excellent. It's probably one of the best uppers I've seen in recent times. That's why it's getting 9 out of 10. And in the outsole here, so Saucony are using their XT900 rubber. And if they've used that in pretty much all the other Endorphin series, and they've all had an issue with the grip, especially in the wet conditions. So it's a very greasy shoe. So they changed up the grip pattern in an effort to improve this grip of this shoe. So has it improved this shoe in the wet? Well, it has slightly, but it certainly needs work. So it's still a bit ice skatey, especially on those wet roads. So yeah, slight improvement. But what this outsole is though, it is incredibly durable. So really impressed by the durability here in this outsole. But we've got good rubber coverage here. So pretty much the entire forefoot, high wear areas at the back. That white stuff there, that's the exposed foam. And then we've got our exposed carbon plate, exposed winged nylon plate, which I'll cover shortly. But overall, durability great. Grip in the dry, good. Grip in the wet, not so good. So it's a bit of a letdown in this shoe, 6.5 out of 10. And in our midsole here, so they are using their tried and tested super foam Power Run PB. So this is not the best foam that Saucony put out. They've got a Power Run HGs, which they use in the Endorphin Elite. So this is the next one down. This is the Power Run PB. But it's a very bouncy, energetic type foam. And it's got all these little pellets all through the midsole that you can see. So they've used this one in all the other iterations of the Speed, and also it also features in the Endorphin Pro as well. So within this Power Run PB, they've got a winged nylon plate, and that's obviously going to give this midsole some rigidity. However, not as much as what you'd think. So flexibility in this shoe, it's actually quite flexible, but it's got a lot of snap back there, as you can see, a lot of snap back. But you can see where the flex point is in this shoe. It's sort of towards the middle of the shoe, and I'll go on about that later on in the review. But yeah, it's still a pretty flexible shoe considering it's got a nylon plate in it. Now geometry wise, we've got a 4-foot rocker geometries, which they call their speed roll tech. So I love where Saucony put this speed roll in their shoe, so it's just about here, and it's just on a great spot. So once you start putting some speed into this shoe, you start getting up on the forefoot. This is a really, really, really nice ride. And what I also have to mention is this incredible sock liner. So super responsive sock liner, as they call it. But yeah, it's certainly an upgrade from last year's sock liner. But this one, yeah, it's just a bit of extra foam under there. Yeah, but yeah, really, really responsive. I'm not sure if it's the Power Run HG. It's definitely not the Power Run PB inner sole that they put in some of the other shoes. This one totally different, but yeah, very responsive, and it certainly influenced the ride of this shoe. That's for sure. And the ride's really energetic, it's lively, there's a lot of bounce, a lot of spring, lots of pop. So there's a good amount of softness as well. It's not soft and squishy cloud-like, it's more of it's going to take the panning out of the road, and it's going to work hard to get your foot off the ground into your next stride. So yeah, really lively ride here. However, to experience that liveliness of this ride, to make it feel really, really nice, you have to be putting the speed into it. So you have to run at this shoe with some pace. So anywhere from that steady paces up to your threshold efforts, this thing absolutely sings when it gets more pace into it. So the more pace you put into it, the better it feels. So that's how you get the most out of this shoe. What this shoe does not feel really good at, and that is at the slower speed. So it actually feels quite clunky. It feels like the shoe, so when you start landing a bit more through the rear of the shoe, it feels like the shoe, as I said before, that flex point, it feels like the shoe's bending in half. And it's sort of just, yeah, it's taken away any smoothness of the ride. So the flex point, I think, is in the wrong spot when you jog in your shoe, and it just feels clunky. So it doesn't really like going slow for me. However, when you put the pace in it, you start landing here, this is when the shoe comes alive. But overall, this shoe is called the Speed, and that's what it feels great at. That's why it's getting 8 out of 10. So as I just mentioned before, best use is when you put speed into the shoe, and again, it's going to sing for me at that tempo pace. That's where it really, really likes to be. You're going to get the most out of this foam and the rocker. You're going to get the bounce, the liveliness in the rocker, and you're not going to experience any of that clunky feeling at that jogging paces. Can you still jog in this shoe? Yes, you can, but as I said, it's going to feel clunky. You can still do your workouts in it, so you can still do your warm-up, do your workout in this shoe, and then do your cool down, but just don't expect it to be nice and smooth at them slower paces. Right, so other options if you're considering this one, or some competition for the Speed 4. So first and foremost is the big brother shoe, so the Endorphin Pro 4. So that one is going to use the same sort of foam. It's got the Power Run HG at the top. It's a more of a stable shoe. It's a more responsive shoe. It doesn't have as much bounce or as liveliness. However, it doesn't have that issue at that clunkiness at the slower paces. The next shoe I'm going to mention is the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Flash 2. So that one is a much more rocket shoe than this. It's still got super foam. It's got a plate. And another one that I'm going to mention is the Adidas Boston 12. So that one also has super foam in it. It's got some energy rods inside that. However, that one doesn't feel as lively or as fast. It's probably a little bit more softer than this shoe, and it's a whole lot cheaper than this shoe. Right, so just wrapping it all up here. Now, there are some things that I absolutely love in this shoe, and there is some things that I don't like in this shoe. So obviously the things that I love the ride when you put pace into it. Love this shoe at tempo pace. Absolutely love the upper. One of the best uppers on the market. Remember, things that I don't get along with. I don't get along with the outsole, so in the wet, way too slippery. And also just that clunkiness at jogging. So I don't enjoy jogging in this shoe. But anyway, as you can see by the scores there, it scored pretty well. So obviously helped out by the great score here in the upper and also in the ride as well. Now, is this shoe a buy? Well, I think there's better options out there. So I think you need to consider other options, but it depends what you're going to buy this shoe for. If you want this shoe as a daily trainer, I'd probably get something else. If you're going to buy this shoe just primarily for workouts, then I would say go for it. However, for me, there's still better workout shoes. So, but anyway, that's totally up to you guys. But again, overall, it's a great shoe. It's just a bit clunky at the jogging paces, and the outsole's a bit slippery. So for me, consider other options. Have a look around. But anyway, guys, that is it from me. Interested to hear your thoughts on my full review of the Endorphin Speed 4. If you got any questions or comments, please just drop them in the comment section below. I really love reading those. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.